be something that you guys can review later, okay? Again, what are some essay writing mistakes your teacher told you to avoid in the past? Annie, you just jumping right in there, plagiarizing. It's a mistake. Oh, look at your twin telepathy. Gavin, that door is about to slam and I will not be able to move fast enough. Can you put the pick down? The door fell. It's gonna get hot in here today. It's probably gonna be around 90 in this classroom by the end of the day. Why do you think I'm dressed for the summer? Okay, so make sure you like say something. Again, it's a quick check-in. We're just gonna quickly go over this. Wrong punctuation is a big one. You're right, Master. It's a big issue is the comma splicing. In the butt. Okay, I'm gonna move us along in a minute. I am missing a decent amount of online children. But I do not want to waste this time that we can be using on our paper. So, warm up, rewrite this sentence. In this essay, I'll tell you about how JFK was assassinated by the US government. So, rewrite it as if you were making it better, because this is not a great sentence. I purposely made this like a really bad sentence. So apply that knowledge that you have of things that you've been told in the past, or what's been told something different. See what you can do. You don't have to be like super big on the prose here, anything like that. This is to direct and dry. Arthur, my heart. Just came at my neck for this sentence. Told me that it's too dry and direct. That hurts. Meant to not be great, but wow. Good, Dominique, you're on the right path. You guys are already falling back into those like old good, Taylor. Where you need to be. This won't be perfect because it's not a great thesis statement, but just see how I want to see how you guys rephrase it. Sean, what are you thinking? If you were like looking at this and be like, oh well, that's a really bad thesis statement, what would you change about it? Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Everyone's saying it's dry. I know it's dry. It's not supposed to be good. It's meant to not like being seen, not nothing. That's a good way to do it, Musa. Take like a minute or two more. Again, this is mostly just something where we just practicing some skills of copywriting and editing. Okay. Because these are just things I want to address before you get deeper into your essays. But after you've had some time to like write at least a little bit so you know where you're going, okay? So that when we're looking at these thesis statements, we can kind of adjust if needed. Okay, Dominic. Master is giving me a whole breakdown. Thank you. It's actually pretty good. Okay. It's not convincing. That is, I mean, yes, it sounds good. Okay, Arthur. Okay, Kayla. I know you're at home today, but that's good. Danny, you're gone right where I need you to. Gavin coming at my neck, but this thesis is very weak. Thank you. I know. Musa, that's really good. You're writing a whole intro, it looks like. Again, guys, if you're just joining us, we are rewriting Miss Schreiber's writing and making it better. And I purposely have been making really bad sentences to see what we can do with really bad sentences. Alyssa, that's a good point. Aisha, that's good. Gavin, that's a good point. It doesn't really give you any information, right? So I'm gonna put these up on the board for you guys so you can see what people are saying. So this paper evidence will be given to support the idea that JFK was assassinated by the government. It was too dry. Thanks, guys. We're just doubling down on that, I see. It's suspected that the US government assassinated JFK. So someone pointed out you should try not to use in this essay statement and keep I out of the essay, out of essays that are dealing with facts. Good. The assassination of John Kennedy was done by the government of the United States. Okay, so you're reframing it. That could work. Just bear in mind that it doesn't really give you much information. Not that I was expecting you to be able to get much information out of it, but that does kind of get us started on that. And then this read right here. Better introductory sentence to entice the reader. Okay, good. Use of I is wrong. Good. The entire structure of the sentence is very convincing as potential, and it can be fixed up pretty quickly with a few easy writing techniques and tools. So this is the many wonder what really happened the day that JFK was assassinated. So in this essay, you will see how JFK assassinated the government. It's a good start. Too dry and direct. Everyone says dry. Thank you. And then this essay, we will discuss the topic of whether JFK was actually assassinated by the American government. Good. So maybe I'm picking up on a few things that I would say are pretty important to pick up on with writing. I'm not going to go too much further down. But Haley does make a point of, in this essay in the beginning, I will tell you it's not necessary because it just does not sound very well thought out. Rewriting this sentence, you would need to make it more lively. So very weak. This one is Gavin, your good point here, Salter, that it's doesn't like give you any more information. That's good. Okay. So the first thing that I want us to talk about is point of view. So this is an easy pitfall to fall into because like when we're writing, we sometimes fall into this trap of saying like, I think, or we say, or like my thoughts on the matter are. When we're talking about pure research writing, okay, this is writing that you guys are doing right now. This whole idea of doing research writing and presenting facts, right? When you use I, it takes away from that believability that the fact that you're giving is a true fact. If I said, I believe that Danny, ignore the bottom. I forgot to remove that. I think Danny actually stole the gems from the museum. Instead, I would say Danielle Fiore was last seen in the museum with the jewels. Okay, right? Or something along those lines. Which one sounds more believable? Second one, yeah. So taking out that point of view that right? Because I can guarantee you none of you were there for when Princess Diana was killed. Unless you're John Mulaney. And no one gets that joke. Uncultured children. But I can guarantee that none of you were there when Jesus and Mary Magdalene walked the earth. Did you have any experience that can play into that? No, right? Somebody saying like, I think that Mary Magdalene made this choice. Like, we don't know, right? We weren't there. We have no prior knowledge of it. But it is okay to use I in a few different situations. If you're writing a story, you're writing an opinion piece. Those are fine. But when we're talking about research writing specifically, the use of I takes away from the facts. Because we need to be careful because, yes, on your modest proposal, I was okay because you're arguing something. But now you're incorporating research. And the research has to be specifically the avoidance of I, we, my, me, myself. I need to make a poster of this. I always tell people this every year. Don't do this, but every time I make a poster, it looks terrible. In the first person point of view, extensive usage of I think, I believe, I know, right? Like, you know this. Like, Gavin may be like the foremost expert on, I don't know, what's a video game you play? So, Gavin Carter.
Yeah, plays Fortnite.
What sport do you play? What do you do for fun?
He plays Fortnite.
Okay. Let's say Gavin's really good at Fortnite. Does that make him an expert in Fortnite?
What?
Like, let's say that Gavin is actually a pro player in Fortnite now.
Yeah, it is a pro player.
Let's say that Gavin is one of the top players of Fortnite in the entire United States. Would that mean that he has the authority to say, I believe, or I think, or I know, if he's writing a paper about Fortnite?
Yeah, because he's the best. He knows everything about the game.
If he's a professional in the field, if he is knowledgeable in the field, okay, to the point where he is the only expert that like would have that knowledge, he could potentially use I sometimes, okay? Not all the time. It's very rare that you can use I in a research paper. However, if you are the expert in a field, like the only expert in that field, and you can't use any work from anyone else, you could say the findings conclude that the Gavin Carter's usage of the building techniques outlined in section A makes sense, as long as you're taking that part out. So I just want to say, like, technically speaking, if you are an authority on the subject, you may be able to use I some of the time, not all the time. So here are a few ways you can avoid POV errors. You can remove the I think or I believe statement and rephrase the sentence, or you can rewrite the sentence to reflect the facts rather than the assumed opinion. So I want you to change the following sentence into a stronger sentence by changing the point of view. I believe that Fitzgerald used the color yellow as a symbol for decay because he used cream at first to describe Gatsby's car when we first meet him, and yellow at the end of the novel. Just so you know, this is a run-on too, and I'm making it as terrible as possible to make you rewrite it. Took me a while to make this stuff bad. Just gonna hide your response, Sean.
Isn't that good?
So I'm concerned. So again, I made a very bad sentence for you. I tried, this is like the hardest thing for me because I try to avoid the spoilers of the book. Okay. Like I had to avoid spoilers. So the sentence sounds weird, but I was trying to avoid the spoilers. Great Gatsby. Like, I mean, it's been around for 100 years, but like I still don't want to, be like, well, at the end, because we are going to be reading Gatsby. We're going to be and that's a whole other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Is which after you're done writing this.
No more. No more.
No more books?
No more. We're done after this essay. No more.
No, you still have one more writing piece to do.
Oh my God.
I can barely get through this.
This is enough.
It's a personal essay. It's for your college. It's for your college applications.
That's even worse. No.
So just as a heads up, after that we're gonna finish here with The Great Gatsby.
More.
I'm just gonna ask you guys if you want to do the graphic novel or the actual book.
How about we do neither? And we just do like.
First off, the graphic novel is a fantastic graphic novel. I would die on that hill.
Assignments. Like little assignments for us here.
The Great Gatsby graphic novel that just came out this year because Great Gatsby is finally but it's you don't like it? Wow. Roaring 20s, Gilded Age.
Did you do another essay on the Great Gatsby?
Well, I mean, all the books we've done so far are like not very like either futuristic or like really far in the past. So I wanted to. Okay. Okay, Danny, you went very short. Use the color yellow, symbol for decay in order to describe gas color first medium, and yellow in the novel he used green. Taylor, I see where you're going. Okay. So I'm gonna start showing some of these responses. Sean's response is hidden because I don't feel like looking at it.
What's that?
It's just slamming on a keyboard.
Show not my response.
No. It's literally just slamming on a keyboard. I'm not dealing with this. So here are a few. It is possible that Fitzgerald used the color yellow as a symbol for decay. For this reason, he used the cream to describe gas described first, and at the end of the novel, he describes it as yellow. Okay. Fitzgerald was believed to have used the color yellow at first as the symbol for decay instead of cream, which was used at first. Okay. So use the color yellow as a symbol of decay, just taking out all the examples and just like he used the color yellow. I don't care about if there's examples here, but he used the color yellow. What, my sentence?
Yeah.
The whole point of it is to like be really.
It was really long, and that's what I got.
That's fine. Fitzgerald used the color yellow as a symbol for decay in order to describe gas and carbon first medium, and yellow at the end of the novel he used cream. Okay, like that needs to be slightly readjusted because remember we needed to know that the transition goes from yellow cream to yellow, not the other way around. So I'd be careful of that. Judge the color yellow as a symbol for decay because he used cream at first. Okay. This is describe Gatsby's car when he first met him. Okay. Now, I've written a sentence that I think it would be a good take on this. So I said Fitzgerald uses the color yellow as a symbol for decay. Danny.
Yeah.
Physical description of Gatsby's car is cream when we first meet him and slowly shifts to yellow by the end of the novel. Would you make any changes to that?
No, it's perfect.
It's not perfect. It's never a perfect.
It needs it's pretty perfect.
Master is like so against Gatsby. He's like, burn it all down. No. But tell me if there's any changes you would make. Guys, you're allowed to tell me there's something wrong with my sentences.
I like the first sentence.
Yeah, it sounds like yours, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds a little familiar.
But like the whole point of this is like, I don't write perfectly all the time. I'm gonna rewrite my sentences multiple times sometimes. What's that? Yeah, but like it's like Sean has completely given up on doing anything related to this practice because I need to get it done in the next like 5-ish minutes. Sean. It's the only basketball game I'll ever play, is whatever that was.
Nuh-uh. I have a game on Monday. Last week I dropped 25. I'll cook and just try to go to the gym right now. Let's go to the gym right now. Put $50 on it.
So Dominique, you said change meat to met.
All right, we lost.
That would change the tense. Because I say uses. So you'd have to keep your tense consistent. But like that could be something that you would have to look at later on, right?
Wait.
Okay, Gavin, you're going a little art school on me. The feeling conveyed by the color cream. That's fun.
Oh.
That is actually very much so like an art school response, which is kind of fun. Like, so everyone takes different, and that's not me making fun of you. That's just saying like that is very much so an art school response that I would expect if I was in art school. Carrie just says no. Brian says no. Musa says, like, you guys can say yes. Or Taylor, that is very much so on brand. She said it's okay. Okay. Another common pitfall is telling but not showing me. You guys, some of you guys did this earlier. In this essay, I will. Or I plan on explaining this in my essay. In this essay, I will explain the history behind the Titanic while also uncovering the conspiracy that at some point the Titanic was used for insurance fraud. This is actually Chris is doing the Titanic, so I just took whatever his conspiracy theory was and just wrote a sentence about it.
What's the theory?
That it was actually the Britannica. Yeah.
The Titanic's still around.
We're so alive.
No, the poop died.
Again, the idea behind showing don't tell is like don't tell me in this essay I will. This essay will explain to you. Remember, you should be framing it as sentences, as in facts. Don't tell me what you're gonna do. Show me what you're gonna write about. Show me the Titanic was a part of an insurance fraud scheme. Does that make sense?
We need to change this.
Yeah, fix it, make it better. Again, I wrote terrible sentences for a reason.
Too much work. I don't know what to
I'm gonna move faster through this. I just wanted to write a bunch of terrible sentences and then make you guys fix them. Because you guys will be doing peer editing at some point.
before I ever get to it. Wait, that's good.
Well, you're gonna have up until like you come back from break to get your rough draft in.
All right.
So like technically it's still the 31st. I can't keep any assignments after the 31st, but like I'm not gonna be looking really at them. The earlier you get it in, the more feedback you're gonna get. But like, yeah.
No more assignments. No more.
Okay.
No more.
Brian's still going with this essay will explain. Danny, that's good. Aisha, I like the uncovering the complex history of the Titanic. That's good. Taylor, I like the truth behind the Titanic is still being uncovered. That's a good start too. Gavin just starts like mid-sentence, but it's fine. Like that, it's you guys aren't writing about these topics. So you don't need to be knowledgeable in these topics. Just like can make my writing better. Let's pretend I am terrible at writing, which is sometimes the case when I can't get my words out correctly. But let's say that I have a terrible day with my writing. I cannot just formulate my thoughts properly. Are you going to have to read my crap or are you going to make it better? You know what I mean? Okay, these are good in this cool essay. I swear, Sean.
Yeah, isn't that good?
And the history and conspiracy theory of the Titanic can be okay, Danny, that's good. I'm not Daniel. Daniel.
Me?
Daniel. Two good. So some of you are saying the history of the Titanic has always been somewhat a mystery. As a result, many conspiracies has formed. That's good. Aisha, that's really good. The Titanic was the greatest ship ever until it sunk. Carrie, I like that. Many believe the conspiracy was that the Titanic was actually used for insurance fraud. That's good. Again, guys, we want to avoid that whole like this essay is going to explain to me, because when we do that, it actually takes away from making you an expert on this and kind of making you seem like you're just on a page. Because when we're writing academic writing, it's belief that like we are writing something that's academically sound. We want to make sure that we are on top of this whole idea. Like in this essay, I will kind of takes away from that academic sound, if that makes sense. Now, here's the last one. This is like the biggest one that I think like is so easy to fall into. And it is multiple choice for that second question. Writing out your abbreviations. Half y'all did not write out JFK. It happens.
You didn't write it out.
That's the point. It was a bad sentence.
I didn't feel like it.
Abbreviations may make sense in some cases where your writer and the reader already has prior knowledge of the content. However, most likely, if they're an alien, they have no idea who JFK is.
Well, why would an alien be reading like
Or like a little kid, if you went up to a little kid and said, do you know who JFK is?
You're not gonna know who John F. Kennedy is either.
They might. They like
Well, actually, down the beach.
like
down the
let's say
beach,
that I'm like, you need to go to JFK Boulevard, right?
They know that.
In Philadelphia.
They don't have to know. They can type on their phone.
True.
Y'all are killing me nowadays.
Siri.
So
To be honest, a little kid's
Pull
gonna know
up
JFK. Yo, Nate. A little kid's gonna know
Nate,
JFK
hi.
or John F. Kennedy. Yo,
so Howard,
what's easier to remember, JFK or John F. Kennedy?
Okay.
Yeah.
yes, but in academic writing, you have to spell it out.
I
Nah,
refuse.
Nate.
Anyway, however, taking the time to write out abbreviations first will save you a headache. So when you first introduced it, some of you guys are saying it is write it out once and include parentheses JFK after writing it out, or continue to write out JFK, John F. Kennedy for the remainder of the essay. Reasons why you should do this: it adds clarity to your writing. Let's say you're writing about new prescription drugs that you want to create.
Wait.
No.
Do we have to write it? Is the answer write out once or multiple times? Once. Oh, all right.
You don't have, write out once if you need, yeah. You can write it out once and then the parentheses tells you that that's what you're gonna use for the rest.
Oh, I see.
It's not the best, but like it does, like writing out John F. Kennedy for the author. But reasons why you should do this, it adds clarity. Let's say that it's not JFK, but it's something else you're writing about a drug that's about to go on the market, okay? You are a scientist, you've done a lot of research on a specific drug, you're about to put it on the market, and then you write ABV, Ablaban or something, I don't know. I don't do science. Let's say you could abbreviated name of something. The normal consumer or other scientists are not going to know the actual name of that because it has not hit market yet, so they don't have that prior knowledge. By writing out the entire name, it has that prior knowledge piece. Now, you can write it out once or multiple times, it's up to you. That is not really the biggest deal, but I want you guys to take the sentence right now and rewrite the sentence. Many conspiracy theorists believe that JFK was murdered by the FBI and members of his own administration. This should be really easy to do. Never. And when we're done, this you have like the last 10 minutes to work on your essays, okay? Yeah, well, it would have been faster if you didn't just slam your head on the keyboard multiple times. That looks good, Abby. Because again, if it's something like JFK, that's a common knowledge thing. Like we all know, it's a commonly used thing like JFK. Like that's why you could use the abbreviation. But if it's something like more specific and different. Sean just wrote true. If you guys wanted to know what Sean wrote.
Yeah.
Annie just wrote M.
I was going to hit
Right.
backspace and then I just put up. So I
Fine.
Okay. Abby, that's good.
See.
Carrie, that's fine. Haley, that's good. Taylor, that's good. I'm not going to show them because they should all be pretty consistent, okay? So I just want to do this because you guys are in the middle of writing your essay, right? Your first draft, there are going to be mistakes. But if you avoid these things earlier rather than later, you won't have a headache when you're going back and having to edit the entire thing, right? Yesterday was just getting into the headspace. Today is just the writing piece. For the rest of the period, you guys have time to work on your writing. Does anybody need a conference with me today at all? Anybody online need a conference? Does anybody need more clarity on